So, positive attitude. So just to tell you a bit about Canadian Mental Health Association, we were founded in 1918, a national charity that helps maintain and improve mental health for all Canadians. We help access the community resources that individuals may need to help build resilience, coping skills, support recovery, and prevent mental illness. In New Brunswick, we have 18 different locations. We have the offices in the bigger cities, Moncton, Fredericton, St. John. And we have community education coordinators. So all that means is not only do we have services in the big cities, we have our CECs that take care of the rest of the province. So there's coverage in all corners. Absolutely. We have our provincial peer support program. That's for individuals who've been through either a mental health illness or an addiction or something along those lines, and they feel they're in recovery. They can help others get to that same point. And we also have an employment program over in Charlotte County, helping individuals find meaningful employment in their community. So what is an attitude? If we break it down, if we go back to the definition in the dictionary, it's the way you think and feel about someone or something. And the way we think or feel is going to affect our behavior towards that. So let's use the weather as an example, just because it's a little different today. That's what I'm thinking of first thing. Some people love summer. They absolutely love being warm. Doesn't matter if they're coated in sweat all day, like they just love it. They love the 35 plus weather. And other people, you know, might prefer the 15 to 25 range, let's say. Whatever your thought is about it though, it's going to affect your behavior. So if you like summer, you love the heat, you're going to make sure to take advantage of summer and all of the activities that go along with summer, where someone who may like the cooler weather might stay home or inside, you know, try to take advantage of AC, that sort of thing, right? So that's just a little example of how your thinking can affect the behavior as far as what that thought was in the first place. So positive attitude is an inclination towards the positive aspects of any situation. And positive attitude means that you approach unpleasantness in a more open and productive way. So it's not about ignoring reality. So going back to the example that I'm giving about weather. Okay, yes, the reality is that it's cooler today, but the positive thinking, if you're not someone who enjoys cooler weather, is that today's the first day of June and warmer weather is coming, and you know what I mean? Like you're just open to, okay, today is this kind of a day. Today we're experiencing this kind of weather, but the weather that I prefer is coming another time, right? So just kind of having that thought instead of a defeatist attitude about it. So positive thinking is actually something that you can train. The first way to go about it is to be aware, right? So to be aware of your thoughts, your beliefs, your perceptions, regardless of what it's about and what the thought is. Like the point is not to judge what your thoughts are, just to be aware, just to kind of, okay, this is how I feel about that, and this is what I think about this person, right? Being aware. You can also train your mind to anticipate happiness, health, and success. So, you know, let's say we're wondering about what may happen later on tonight. Often we might go to the negative, right? And that brings anxiety. So thinking, let's say, of a lunch that we have planned with a group of friends, and there's going to be one individual that you're not that much of a fan of, right? The thought is going to be, oh, I'm not going to enjoy the supper. Oh, I wish that person wasn't coming, right? Those kind of thoughts, as opposed to maybe, oh, you know what, I'll make sure to sit beside so-and-so, and I'll try to sit as far away from the individual that I'm not a fan of, right? And I'll enjoy my supper either way. And maybe I'll even learn something about this individual that I didn't know before, and I might like them even more than I did. I might dislike them more than I did. That's fine. And that's something you can accept, and don't let it get in the way of you enjoying things just because there might be one aspect that you're not so sure about. But positive thinking is just, you know what, I'm open to the possibility of this being a good thing. Even though there's something in my mind that says it might not be a good thing, I'm open to it being a good thing. So let's see what happens. And you allow thoughts, words, images that are conducive to positive results, right? So a good result, a good supper with your friends, even though there's someone that's there that you don't love. And it all starts with self-talk. If I ask you, and feel free to share in chat, what is it that we say to ourselves on a daily basis, right? Excuse me, especially, I don't know, let's say in the example that I'm talking about for the supper with a group of friends and one you're not so much a fan of. If that resonated with you, the example that I gave, an automatic thought you might have had to yourself is, oh, I do that all the time. I'm wrong for doing that all the time. I should do better, right? Like just having that kind of a self-thought, as opposed to thinking, I do that. Okay, what can I do to change it, right? And just kind of accepting, as opposed to, I don't know, maybe being a little down on ourselves. On here we have someone sharing that I don't have anything positive to say about myself. And it's been that way for many, many years. And that's too bad to hear, because it weighs on a person, right? When your opinion of yourself or anything you think about yourself is not the ideal, that weighs on a person. And it affects the way you feel physically, emotionally. It affects your behaviors too. If you don't have much faith in yourself, let's say, to make the right decisions, or I don't know, to make a change, to improve or something like that, there's less esteem to even take that first step to start getting better, right? So absolutely, I'm hoping that this can be helpful. Yeah, I'd be struggling too if that were the way that I would feel. And Dawn, you might be able to recommend we have a partner that we have a counseling agency, Pre-Love Counseling, that we've partnered with, and they're willing to offer a free session to individuals. So that might be something that would be helpful for you. Might find tips and tricks, you and anyone else that's in the chat today. So maybe Dawn can share that information as far as how they can sign up for that. So again, a little bit more on self-talk. The endless stream of unspoken thoughts that run through your head, normally directed at yourself. And self-talk may contain both positive and negative thoughts. I did another session this morning, and we watched a video, and some of you may have seen something similar at some point or run into it in your own life, where we see an individual we know, maybe at the mall or something like that, and you could almost swear they made eye contact with you, but they ignored you, right? They just walked by and continued on with their day. So a lot of us, the self-talk that we would have in that moment is, okay, so what's their problem with me? What did I do to upset them? Right? And that's going to be the spiral that you're going to go down, as opposed to, okay, let's say we look at this positively. This is an individual you really like, just go hunt them down. Just say, hey, how's it going? You know? And if you don't have the time, the other positive thing you could do is just shoot them a quick message. Later on that night, say, hey, I saw you in the mall and you looked like you were pretty lost in thought. How are you? Right? They might be going through something as well. So keep that in mind. So we're going to do this exercise together, actually. I'm going to read off a situation, negative self-statement, and you guys are going to try to turn it into a more positive or even a more factual statement, right? So the situation is having to hand in a long, difficult assignment the next day. Okay, so your work gives you an assignment to hand in tomorrow. And your automatic thought is, there's no way I can get this done by tomorrow. There's no way. Okay. Is there a different statement that we could say to ourselves that's factual, but not so defeatist? There's someone that can think of one. Okay, I'm getting a comment here, time to focus and get this done, right? Let's not waste any more time thinking. Let's focus and start working at it. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good thought to have. And then we have someone else that's like, oh, I wouldn't have known what to say in this situation. Yeah, that makes sense. Take small bites, sure. Make sure, you take small bites until it's done. Yeah. And if I start now, I might just get it done. Yeah. Yeah, those are really good thoughts, right? And it doesn't, like, having this thought right here, no way I'm getting the work done, and having that other thought that we suggested that, I might get this done, regardless of what thought you have, it's not going to alleviate the workload. But when you're less anxious, are you not more productive, right? So having a different thought in that moment, in an anxiety-provoking moment, helps set you up for success for the rest of the day or whatever it is you're facing. All right, what about the next one? Getting into a car accident, and then you would say, I'm a terrible driver, I'll never drive again. Yeah, we have a person that says accidents happen. Absolutely, they happen. Why do you think we have car insurance? Why do you think we have a specific line for claims? When you call your insurance company, of course accidents happen for different reasons. And if you have a car accident, of course you're going to have a bit of trepidation because it's a very overwhelming experience for sure. But it doesn't mean that you can't drive again. I mean, that statement is just not factual. It's very defeatist. So yeah, accidents do happen. And the sooner you get behind the wheel, the better. Yeah, for sure. That's very true, because the longer you wait, the more anxiety is going to build. Okay, let's think of why it happened and work to avoid, on how to avoid it happening again. Absolutely. Is there something, if it was your fault, was there maybe something obstructing your view? Were you distracted? That sort of a thing, and having that honest conversation with yourself as far as how you can make that better. Yeah, that's a great one. Good job, you guys. Next one, being asked to dance, but not being a skillful dancer. I can't dance. I'll make a fool of myself. Now, is that really factual? That someone to say, I can't dance, is that factual? I don't know, right? Even me just moving like this, like that's a dance. Like, I'm sorry. A dance can be anything you make it, really. So if you feel like you're not a great dancer, what could you say instead? Oh, yeah, we have depends on your definition of dance. Yeah, for sure. Who cares what others think? Go enjoy yourself. Get some dancing lessons. Sure. If that's something that you're interested in, for sure. That's a great activity. Gets you moving. It's a very healthy activity. I don't have a lot of experience, but I'm here to have fun. Love it. Can't be perfect, but dancing can give me some joyful moments. Yeah, absolutely. It's scientifically proven, right? That if we move physiologically, there are changes that happen. It releases dopamine. We feel a lot better, right? So yeah, dancing absolutely is good for that. And then we have one that would say I would die of embarrassment. So again, is that a factual statement, right? Dying from embarrassment is just not, it's not possible, but it's a thought that we have, isn't it? So it's how to change that thought to make it more factual, because it's just not true. People don't die of embarrassment. Of course, it feels overwhelming, and there are physical feelings that come along with feeling embarrassed, but it's just not a true statement, right? Losing your job, right? So I'll never get another job. So we have, what can I learn from this? Yeah. So instead of saying, okay, I'll never get another job, which is not factual, you have a lot of skills that you could offer to another company. So what can I learn? Okay, what did I learn at my previous employer that would help me at the new one? Absolutely, I love that. I have many skills. I will find something soon. Absolutely. Something better is coming. Yeah, it's going to be better in different ways for sure, right? Love it. Yeah, you guys are doing great. Something good must be waiting for me. Let's explore the market again. Yeah, the market changes a lot, right? Like the job market is in anybody's field changes quite a bit. And sometimes we don't notice because we're so, we're content in our job. So it's not like you're job searching very often. Hopefully you're not. But yeah, there are new organizations that open up, different positions that open up here and there. And, everything does happen for a reason, and there's learning to come from it. Yeah, absolutely. Very good. Windows closed, doors open. Yeah, very good. Sometimes it takes a while, but you realize eventually that things happen for a reason. Yeah, that's a very good point. So next one, moving to a new town away from family and friends. Okay, and then the thought that we have is everything I care about, I'm leaving it behind, right? Okay, so we have different actions that we can take. Yeah, so join committees, different groups, participate in events. Yeah, so the thought is, you know what, I can make different friends or different acquaintances anyway. How do I do that? Joining groups, going to events, that sort of thing. Yeah, that's really great. Expand the circle of friends. Yeah, you're not going to lose the friends that you had back at your original town, right? You're going to keep in touch with them. You might go back to visit every once in a while, but you're going to get a few more. And wherever it is that you work or you go shopping or whatever, you're going to get to know those individuals as well. And doesn't mean that you'll hang out with them outside of work every night or whatever. But if you're anything like me, you know, we like to see our work family. We enjoy seeing them every day and asking about the kids and asking about the new puppy and this and that, right? So that's a new crowd that you're going to get to look forward to. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and we have someone that did that at 20, moved to a new town. Yeah, it's a tough thing to do. It's a tough thing to do. And if you have nonstop problematic thoughts or dare I say exaggerated thoughts, right? Negative thoughts, it's going to make it even more difficult. It's difficult enough as it is. Make sure to have the thoughts that are factual and calm and even open and positive. That'll make it a lot easier, as easiest as it can be anyway. And breaking up with the person you're in love with. Okay, so, oh, there must be something wrong with me. No one's gonna ever want me. What do we say to that? Feel the pain and take the time to heal. That's very true. Yeah, it's any separation, whether the relationship was healthy or toxic or whatever, it's still a change. It's still a big transformation. There's a lot of anxiety and stress and unknown, you know, if you were living together, who's going to go here, who's going to go there. Absolutely. And emotions are going to come up. I agree that it's important to feel whatever emotion that comes. Yeah. And take the time to heal from it in whatever time it takes. And emotions do subside, don't they? Think of the last time you went through a separation. I think we probably all have at some point, regardless of how long the relationship was. We would have all separated. The day that we did, we were maybe a wreck, right? A bit of an emotional, you know, really having the negative thoughts and the, oh, like, what am I going to do from here? But the feeling passes. Eventually the overwhelming feeling passes. So just keep that in mind and take the time to feel it while you are. Oh, and you feel you've had a lot of toxic relationships. Yeah, some do. Happy people are attracted to happy people. I like that you mentioned that because um, individuals who are similar, that have similar interests, absolutely, they kind of stick together, right? So if you're finding that you have a lot of friends that are either negative or dramatic, or they're the ones who like to stir the pot, for lack of a better word, check how you interact with them and what kind of statements you're making. Are they as positive or as upbeat as you would like for them to be? And maybe not. And sometimes when you have that shift, you'll see that your circle of friends will automatically change as well. You'll hang out with individuals that just do different things. The activities that they take part in are different. They're healthier, maybe more social, you know, that sort of a thing. So keep that in mind. Good job. You guys did really great. Thank you for participating. And keep doing so if you want to. So can attitude predict behavior? Yes, is the short answer. But yeah, especially when the person's attitudes are strong. So think of a belief that you have that no one has been able to change yet, right? You have a certain opinion that you feel isn't going to change anytime soon. Is your behavior in regards to that opinion going to be strong as well? Yeah, for sure. You're going to act with purpose because you know that that's your belief, right? When the person shows a strong awareness of their attitudes and the person rehearses and practices them, right? So whatever opinion or belief or thought that you have, you're set in your ways, Of course, it's something that you're going to do over and over, let's say. If I use an example of some individuals really believe that art is very healthy and has healing properties, right? Those who believe that, who truly believe that, will take the time to create, right? So that's an example there. And when the attitudes are relevant to the behavior, of course, so if it's in line with, you know, what kind of a person you really are. Ample evidence exists that changes in behavior can precede changes in attitudes. So when you try something new, okay, you'll see that your attitude might shift a little bit. You may have heard, and I don't know if I'm going to say it exactly right, but I heard a quote once that basically said, to have self-esteem, you need to do esteemable things, right? So if you think of your day and your, I don't like the word ashamed because it's very, very strong, but I think you know what I mean. If you have that kind of, you know, day in, day out actions and behaviors where you're kind of like, you know what, I'm just not living in line with my beliefs and my values. Oh, I'm so sorry. My phone's ringing. I forgot to put off the ringer. But yeah, if you're having that day in and day out where you're not living in line with what you believe in, but you're doing it just because you're either exhausted, you don't have the time to do something different, you feel like you don't have the power to do something different, you know, that kind of a rut that you might be in, of course you're going to have those negative thoughts. Your mind is going to want to go there before anything else. And if you see that you can maybe have that courage to change even just one thing in your life, you might see that, oh, you know what, I'm proud of myself for having done this, or, oh, it feels so great to have done this, right? I know for myself, like if I don't sleep enough, it's not a good sign. And I like staying up late, and I like, you know, just doing my own thing and having time to myself and this and that, but that means that I'm sleeping less, which affects the next day, right? So if I'm able to cut that down, that personal time down, go to bed earlier, I'm setting myself up for success the next day, right? So those kind of behaviors. And repeatedly expressing attitudes increases their importance to us. So the more you have a thought, regardless of what thought it is, the more you have it, the more you're going to believe it. And you'll act in accordance to that as well. Oh, I have a little comment here. Sometimes we have to evaluate our attitudes. Where does it come from? Is it our belief or what we were taught? Absolutely. Absolutely. We know that a lot of things, sorry, my assistant just wants to go find a different spot to lay down in. Yeah. You know, any sort of opinion sort of begins with our caregivers, right? And our caregivers kind of give us at least a base on which, you know, we can then grow. But it's hard to know sometimes when you start that growth process, and the growth lasts until you die, really. It's hard to know where the belief originated from. Was it actually my belief, or is it something that mom always said? So that's just what I think too, right? So someone said a flimsy base, but a base nonetheless. Yes, absolutely. Very true. So this one I know is a little harder to see. It has smaller letters, but the big words is what's most important anyway. What it's saying is that your thoughts feed into your behaviors feed into your emotions feed into the situations you put yourself into, right? And it's all interrelated. And it can either keep spinning in a bad way, or it can spin in a good way, right? So does someone have, we can maybe explore that a little bit. Does someone have a situation they ran into recently that sort of threw them for a loop? And whether you reacted well to it or not so well to it, what did you run into that was kind of, what do I do with this? Just something super simple. You know what? I'm actually, I mentioned it at the beginning of the session. I'm gonna elaborate on it. The weather changing, I had no idea it was going to. And I find that my house gets humid easily. So what I like to do is leave at least one window open overnight. You know where I'm going with this. So that, you know, the humidity can go and, you know, just kind of airs out the house by having a window open. So when we woke up this morning, we were quite cold because there were a few windows that were left open overnight. So, you know, the thoughts that I would have in relation to that situation, I could have thought, oh goodness, like I made a mistake. How silly am I? I didn't check the weather network. I didn't do this. I didn't do that, right? And this is why we're cold today. And this is why my cats are looking at me with, you know, disappointment in their eyes. I could have had that kind of a thought, but I was just like, okay, I'll close the windows and I'll turn on the heat for a minute. And that's what I did. That was my solution. But had I had that kind of a thought, my behavior for the rest of the day might have been like speaking with you guys right now. I could have still had that on my mind, that I made a mistake, that I let myself down, my boyfriend down, and my cats down because I let them get cold. You know what I mean? Like I could have had that kind of those kind of thoughts and emotions throughout the day, and because of that, my behavior would be impacted, right? So that kind of a thing. Benefits of positive attitude: being able to put a positive spin on everything, increased lifespan. Because those who are not able, well, first of all, those who are able to look at the positive side of things usually live with less anxiety. And we all know, either ourselves or friends, those who have anxiety have physical symptoms, right? You have the increased heart rate, you feel flushed, you feel shaky. There's more of a risk for heart attacks, you know, sort of cardiovascular diseases. There's more of a risk for individuals with anxiety to develop those. So if you're able to have a positive attitude, decrease that anxiety, that's how the lifespan, you know, is open to be increased. Doesn't mean that it will be, but you know what I mean. Lower rates of depression and anxiety, lower levels of distress. Absolutely. Absolutely. Greater resistance to the common cold, right? Because your body is not always under distress and tense, you have that greater resistance to cold or anything else. Better psychological and physical well-being, absolutely. Reduced risk of death from cardiovascular disease, we talked about that. And better coping skills during times of stress. So, you know, individuals that have a positive attitude and just an optimistic outlook on different things doesn't mean that they don't feel stress. They absolutely feel stress. If they were to move to a different home, they would be stressed out over that. If they were going through a separation, they would be stressed out over that. Absolutely. But the thoughts that go along with it, right, it alleviates the anxiety so that the stress, first of all, doesn't climb as high as it could and doesn't last as long as it could, right? Having that positive attitude. So don't forget that. And your positive thinking, your positive attitude, what it can impact in your life, all this and more. So you're learning. If you have a positive attitude or an optimistic outview anyway, you're more open to learning and to actually absorbing new information that might alter your original belief, your original thinking that might be a little negative, right? Spirituality absolutely might permit you to make that connection that's missing right now, whatever that might mean to you. Social participation, right? You're more social and healthier activities, that sort of thing. Leisure, health, financial security, work, family life, all of it, everything. Everything can be impacted in a good way. Well, here are some tips. Look for the bright side of life. So in every situation, if we were to think about anything that happened to either of us during our day, we could find a negative about it and we could find a positive about it. And we could probably fall somewhere in the neutral as well, right? So as long as we can fall somewhere between the neutral and the positive, that's where we want to go. If you have kids that complain about homework and that sort of thing, I don't have as much time to do what I enjoy. This material's not interesting, you know, that sort of thing. Okay, and that's fine. I get what you mean. It is unfortunate that you can't do what you want to do all the time. But life isn't that way, and that's what homework is teaching you, that there are some tasks that you're going to be given in life, and they need to be completed in a certain amount of time, a certain way. This is teaching you that. Right? So that's more of a factual / positive outlook on homework than it's a waste of time, right? So anything in your day, you could do the pros and the cons if you wanted to. So choose to be optimistic, choose to go to that positive side. You do have the choice and you do have the control. It might not feel like it sometimes, it might be hard to find the positive. If you're at that point, different resources would be helpful. Things like this is great. These kind of presentations are just a good reminder. I mean, what I'm talking about is common sense to some, something that we all heard before at some point, but it's nice to be reminded sometimes and for it to be brought back to top of mind. But other resources can be, you know, one-on-one counseling. Sometimes there is a lot more to dig into, right? So that we can address what we feel is negative on our life and kind of move past it, not stay stuck in it the way we have been. Find reasons to smile more often. And there are reasons in our day to smile. We just kind of, I think sometimes we skip over it and we focus on, yeah, the wrong thing sometimes, you know. Something good happens, your child accomplishes something new, or your dog just kind of looks at you a silly way, or something like that. Just take the time to enjoy it. And even if you don't like physically smile, like your soul gets to smile a little bit, you know? Have faith in yourself. Remember that you have survived every single every single difficult and challenging situation that has happened to you in your life. You have survived 100% of it. And that is an amazing survival rate, is it not? That's an amazing success rate. Are there ways you could have handled it differently? Yeah, probably. And doing something like this, having this discussion might make you reconsider some of the choices that you made. But have faith that you're going to get through it, and you can improve if you want to. Associate yourself with happy people. We kind of talked about that before. If you're able to associate yourself with a happy group, it's going to rub off on you. Absolutely. And vice versa. Vice versa. Read inspiring stories and quotes. So for any of you that follow Instagram or Pinterest or that sort of thing, all sorts of stuff that you can find. If you're a person that uses social media in that way, that's what shows up in your news feed, right? Or even just a book if you like reading. Repeat affirmations that inspire and motivate you. So do a little search online and see if you can find some affirmations that are appropriate for you right now in your life. Visualize what you want to happen. So like your best case scenario, what could happen, right? And what is it that I need to do to get that to happen? Have that conversation with yourself and learn to master your thoughts. So when you feel that they're getting away from you and you're kind of spiraling, okay, let's just stop for a second and think about this logically. Sometimes breathing helps too, eh? If you haven't tried breathing yet, it's a really great tool. Again, scientifically proven that physiologically, if you take deep breaths, your body is going to feel calm. And as we talked about with the circle, the vicious cycle, if your behavior, right, so deep breathing changes, that's going to change the chain. So my behavior changed, my thoughts are going to change, my feelings are going to change, right? And then you can start rolling in a better direction than where you were going before. I hope that makes sense. Practice mindfulness. This is a big one. Mindfulness is the art of being in the moment, simply being aware of what you're doing at that moment, right? So if we take the example of the person walking with their dog in the park, are you thinking about the bills that have to be paid? What has to be cleaned at home? What has to happen tomorrow? Who's going where? Right? Or over on the right-hand side, we have, oh, you know what? I'm enjoying my day in the park and I see beautiful trees and I see the sunshine and I feel the wind, you know, that sort of a thing. And mindfulness, it's not, excuse me, if it's not something you've been doing, might take some practice. And it might seem overwhelming the first times that you do it because your mind always wants to wander. When you catch it though, you just bring it back gently and say, oh, don't forget, you're at the park right now. And then just enjoy your time at the park. And you can be mindful doing anything. Could be mindful while you're having a shower, while you're getting dressed, while you're having lunch. Anytime you can practice mindfulness. So don't forget that too. And these are some mental health services that may be of interest. If you are feeling like you need a bit more help, whether it's one-on-one or a group or something like that. So we have just, you know, mental health professionals, we have peer support consultants, mental health mobile crisis unit. That's for someone who's going through a crisis and their safety is in question. So those are individuals that you can call and an interventionist will come out and help yourself or your loved one come back down, you know, and get them help from there. We have our mental health and addictions services through Horizon and Vitalité, Chimo for crisis, Kids Help Phone for the younger crowd, family and friends, and good ones too, right? Don't forget that even though you have, you know, certain families, certain group of friends, you know, that you might hang out with the most often, they're not necessarily the most supportive as it relates to mental health. That is a possibility, right? make sure you're reaching out to the individuals that you know will be supportive in this particular time, right? Won't be judgmental, won't add to the stress that you're probably already feeling. 911, if someone's safety is in question, absolutely. And hospital, if you need some sort of an evaluation or something like that, different resources to help you. So that's it for my presentation, but I'm open to questions and comments that we haven't discussed so far. So is there anything that I either skipped over or I didn't talk about enough, or did you have a thought about, you know, maybe situations that you are a little more defeatist about, and something could change? Did you have that kind of a thought? Oh, thank you for mentioning that, Dawn. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, for the counseling. If anyone wants to take advantage of that free session that I was mentioning earlier, this is how you go about it. You email diana.gregory@cmhanb.ca, so you can copy that. I wonder if we maybe hit everything. I'm not getting any comments, so I wonder if we just had a thorough discussion. You guys participated the whole way throughout, and I really appreciate that. I think we had a really good discussion today. I like that I get different participants every time, right? Because there's different points, different questions that people have. So it's just something new that we discuss. Yeah, it's really great. I'm glad you enjoy the sessions. Yeah, I do too. So thanks for being here. Otherwise, I couldn't give it, right? Yeah, it's a great refresher. You're absolutely right. A lot of this stuff we know. It's like, okay, yeah, I know. It's good to be reminded. And sometimes, like at some point, something will stick, right? Whatever that may be. Wonderful. Thank you, Dawn, for your help. Thank you, everyone, for participating. There will be a survey that'll pop up as soon as I end the session. So if you have any questions or comments or suggestions on how we can make this better, or different topics that you'd like to hear about, make sure to let us know. And we'll see you next time. Jean, I saw your question. Sorry, I'll just pause and answer you. I hope you stuck around. Without saying you shouldn't feel that way, I would ask them, why do you feel that way? Instead of, because I think what I'm understanding by your question is that you might be talking to someone who's either exaggerating something, or, you know, they're blowing it out of proportion and they're saying it in a negative way, but it actually really isn't a negative situation. And you're sitting there thinking, it's not really a big deal, I guess. Like, you might be having that kind of thought, right? It's not going to be helpful to say, no, that doesn't matter, or it's not such a big deal, or whatever, right? I would say the best thing that you can do as a support person is to listen, really get an understanding of where their thoughts are at, right? Because if they're voicing that negativity, there are other thoughts that are going on behind the scenes that they're not talking about. So when you have that discussion, they might be able to get that off their chest. And once you have a clearer picture of what's going on, okay, can we maybe problem solve from here? Can we make a list? And when I say we make a list, yeah, you're going to sit with there and you might help them do it. Get them to write what is actually positive about what they're talking about, right? Get them to really explore that. If they're having a hard time getting started, that's where you're going to come in. You know, you might be able to say, oh, did you think about so-and-so? Like, that could be something that's positive in the situation. And that way you can get the ball rolling with them. And I think that that might be helpful to have that open communication and to maybe just have them really reflect on what is positive. And if you see that this is an issue that's been dragging this person for quite a long time, they might need the additional resources that I was talking about, maybe a support group or counseling or something like that, right? So, but you're going to find that out when you have that conversation with them. Know what I mean? I hope that's helpful. All right. Well, thanks everyone. You guys have a great day.